In today's deck profile video, I'm going to explore the ever-growing expensive alternate art deck profile of Mastemon. Mastemon was first introduced in BT3, but had minimum to no support cards that really defined it as a Digimon. Instead, with the introduction of Starter Deck 10 and DNA Digivolution, this is where Mastemon had its first canon ability to digivolve off Angewomon and ladydevimon together. Fast forward to EX6 and we'd see another complete lineup along with a secret rare tamer. And then of course with BT21 in the United Global release, a new promo would debut. But with the release of BT22 and early news that it'd be Cyber Sleuth themed, players scrambled and prepared for more Mastemon support. That is, until the set concluded its news drops, and only one card was added. With a new Mirei Mikagura, does this card add enough to make Mastemon decks competitively viable? Before we jump into this discussion, I want to thank everyone again for supporting the channel and its growth, and opening up new avenues to supporting the community. Mastemon sleeves are still available at the pre-order prices until after August 1st. You can also save more money if you pick up the whole creator set. But if you happen to be in Canada, I will be sending a small batch of sleeves to fellow content creator Curiosity. Check out her content in the link's description, as she'll be helping me distribute without having to deal with too many expensive shipping costs for you. And as always, if you enjoy this type of content, do consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that notification bell for more future content. Mirei Mikagura is now a 3-cost yellow-purple tamer that has a start of main phase effect in which by returning this tamer to the bottom of the deck, you may play one playcost 4 or higher Mirei Mikagura, or a playcost 4 or higher CS trait tamer from the hand without paying cost. And while I could discuss the elements of CS, our priority here is going to be the BT11 Mirei Mikagura and EX6 Mirei Mikagura. This Mirei also has an on-play effect, in which you trash one card with the Holy Beast or Angel, Archangel, Fallen Angel, or CS trait from your hand to draw 2. Hilariously, you can also trash this card for the card draw. In early testing, this card is honestly really good, but I went through numerous revisions until I found a list that I really like to play. And while Mirei was supposed to be the only new card that I added to the deck from BT22, there is one other card that does make the cut. BT22 reppamon is the newest level 4 Digimon that has an effect, in which when effects trash this card from the security stack, you may play it without paying the cost. Seem familiar? On play, and when digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3000 DP until their turn ends. However, by trashing your top security card, you can double this reduction to 6000 DP instead. And the reason for running this card along with BT15 gatomon is very simple. With promo Mastemon, this Digimon has a when digivolving effect that recovers 1. But if you are DNA digivolving, by placing one other Digimon or tamer as the top or bottom security card, you trash your opponent's top security card. Keep in mind that this effect doesn't target specifically your opponent's cards, but yours or your opponent's. Which means if you do have gatomon or reppamon in play, you can spin these cards back to the top of security for Mastemon's secondary effect. When digivolving and when attacking, once per turn by trashing your top security card, you may play one purple or yellow Digimon card with 6000 DP or less from your hand or trash without paying the cost. So once you've DNA digivolved, you'd spin these cards to the top, then trash it immediately for the when digivolving when attacking effect to play back out a ladydevimon or angewomon. Because then the level 4 comes back out, and now you have a target to evo over into the other to create another DNA Digivolution scenario. Honestly, in testing this deck, I strongly recommend practicing these combos, make mental notes of what you saw in security, and remember placement of cards as you send them back to top and bottom. For a basic combo of the deck, it's as simple as raising nyaromon in the back, digivolving into patamon, and throwing out Mirei Mikagura. For the ultimate flex, and disregard for how much memory you're giving your opponent, the BT11 Mirei is the biggest flex and high roll into your Mastemon early turn. But for the cheaper method, throwing down the newest Mirei can start cycling cards in your hand, and then at the start of main next turn, when you promote up the patamon, a series of events will happen. First, you can use this Mirei's effect to bottom deck itself to play out that Mirei Mikagura. No problem. And then trigger patamon's effect. Assuming you hit a level 4 in the security, you're golden because you'll be able to recover with a card from hand back to the bottom, whether it be reppamon or another gatomon. If you digivolved into gatomon, congrats! You'll gain 1 memory off patamon, and 1 memory off gatomon, putting you to at least 3 memory. Now when you digivolve into ladydevimon or angewomon, you can sequence their effects appropriately before playing the other out for free. Regardless if one sees the other being played, you gain a memory off this. And now you can go into Mastemon for the free DNA Digivolution. At which point you can spin any Digimon or Tamer back to the top or bottom of the security, and then trash your opponent's top security card. Interestingly, if you attack here from this position, you can use Nyaromon's effect to trash the bottom security card. And because you know it's a reppamon or gatomon, this means you can further build your board wider by playing starter deck gatomon from hand in order to search for more pieces. And because gatomon was trashed, you'll be able to play it for free. But also remember, because you recovered with Mastemon's effect, you are going to be able to use Patamon's effect because the new stack is a fresh Digimon. And considering this means you could be digivolving another Angewomon, this means you've had ample time now to know what's in security, meaning you could pick up another ladydevimon, which means you'll trigger the Gatomon's effect, since your security technically went down before it went back up. Which means you could be digivolving that gatomon into ladydevimon, choking your opponent to 1 memory, and end of turn DNA digivolving into a second Mastemon. If your opponent's board is empty, no problem. Spin your own Mirei Mikagura back to the top of security to trash another opponent's security card. And if you do end up trashing a card off your security, you'll be able to play out another ladydevimon or angewomon from hand. Which means, if you have Mastemon Ace in your hand, a trap is waiting in the wings. Keep in mind from this one combo alone, you were able to effectively build white off just 1 memory. And there's still many more combos for you to learn and explore on your own. This is why when crafting this particular deck profile, there are many ways to construct Mastemon. There's no right or wrong way to do it because everyone's local meta is different and player preferences also differ. In the early testing of this deck, I started with the typical Demi-Meramon base to utilize not just floodgates like Psychemon and Gazimon, but the standard Ukomon searcher as well. Ultimately though, one thing Mastemon suffers from greatly in the card game is memory efficiency, which is why instead of a purple base, I landed on the Nyaromon Patamon package instead. Nyaromon is a level 2 Digimon that has a simple inheritable of when attacking. Once per turn by trashing the top or bottom card of your security stack, gain 1 memory. This card can effectively play out a Digimon like BT22 reppamon or gatomon because they'll be trashed by effect. Which means any other stack that can also attack and have some trashing mechanic could also be more memory. For other eggs you could run, you might do Tokomon, but ultimately, I stuck with Nyaromon for its trashing mechanic. Level 3s, you're going to have a very sparse and limited number of them here. Of course you've already seen this in the combos, Patamon finding Gatomon or Reppamon is huge. Patamon facilitates all your combos from the get-go, considering it has the ability that checks your security for a level 4 vaccine Digimon and then digivolves into it for free. There are quite a number of options here to play as well, but we'll cover those when we get there. The best part is, after you've digivolved on top of it, its resolving effect to place a yellow vaccine Digimon back to the bottom of security procs its own effect. But what are other options you could run here? Ukomon? I guess you could for filtering. Salomon? Also a decent option considering it can digivolve no Holy Beast Digimon, but what I ultimately landed on was Kudamon because it can not only find your tamers and yellow vaccine Digimon, but the fact that it is a Holy Beast itself. Meaning with EX6 Mirei Mikagura, you can proc this tamer to still gain a memory if you choose to. Digimon aside, floodgates you can use Pillowmon, Cutemon, and others, but with the playstyle of this particular deck, you can trash 2 to 3 security, hit for 2 security, and then game in a single turn. Level 4s, with the Patamons as one of your rookies and an MVP to mulligan into, hitting the Gatomon in security is an extra level of awesomeness. This Digimon has an ability that all turns. Once per turn when your security stack is removed from, you gain 1 memory. Off Patamon it sees the memory gain, but off anything else, it won't. Surprisingly, this Digimon also has Barrier, meaning if you do attack with it and an inheritable Kudamon underneath, you can potentially barrier with a lack of security bombs to gain 1 memory off Nyaromon and 1 memory off this Digimon. Effectively, this would potentially put you at 3 memory, which means it's another way to climb to a level 5. Reppamon adds an additional security Digimon that plays itself out and can trash security to further DP reduce a Digimon by 3000 DP. But of course the returning Digimon to this line is going to be the starter deck Gatomon. You'll notice in this list, I do not run the full 4, but mostly because this card also bottom decks Tamers. The last slot of course goes to the EX6 Gatomon for finding a Digimon with Angel in its traits, and Mirei Mikagura herself. Other variants could consider the Angewomon and Devimon combo, but this honestly wasn't for me. For level 5s, you're basically close to maxing out on all the Angewomons and ladydevimons from the starter deck and EX6. The starter deck Angewomon is great for gleaning your security for Mastemons or ladydevimons, and then setting up the blocker for your stacks. But more importantly, when a ladydevimon or Mirei is played, you gain 1 memory once per turn, which converts your new BT22 Mirei Mikagura into a 2-cost memory tamer. The EX6 Angewomon offers Alliance and can play out Mirei Mikagura if you don't have one in play, but also hits a Digimon for a security tech -2 if you already do have one in play. Starter deck ladydevimon returns one Mirei, or Digimon with Angel in its traits, to hand from trash at the expense of a card in the hand. And like angewomon, can gain a memory when Mirei or angewomon is played. The EX6 ladydevimon is great for hitting level 4s, before they can blast Evo, or even armor Digimon, and then combined with the deeper reduction of your inheritables, could prevent Vmon from going back into Magnamon from security. Though I am on one copy of Angewomon Ace because of her awesome effect. The downside here though is, she's 7000 DP, preventing her from being played. But with the meta having so many effects that can trash security, having a body trash that plays itself could be what makes or breaks the board when you Angewomon Ace over it. Mastemon wise, you have to run 4 promos. It's that damn good. But for the secondary, I am on the Mastemon Ace for the occasional hand that may brick, with one copy of the old starter deck Mastemon. Interestingly, I did not choose to run ordinemon in this list, but you honestly could since it is searchable. But Ruin Mode is another contender that I see most players considering. Option card wise, I actually don't run any of the consistency options like Amber Memory Boost. Instead, I opt to play one of my favorite cards now, Island of Adventure again, because you run so many tamers. The convenience of this card is that even mulliganing into a hand with this, you can just play this to nab the top card of your security. If it's a tamer, you can play it when it's hit in security. If it's a level 3 or 4 Digimon, you might be in action for later turns, all without having passed your opponent 3 memory. But you could also drop back to security bombs, like Flame Hell Scythe, or even Chaos Degradation if you choose. Hell, if you're not liking this option card at all, you might as well drop these and throw in 2 more reppamons to finish up the level 4 line to maximize your chances with patamon and trashing another body to play out. But another alternative option here could be Revelation of Light, to deter wider board spam, since Diaboromon's back. And finally, tamers. You run a lot of Mirei Mikaguras. You might also notice that I'm only on 2 Mirei Mikaguras from BT11. And the answer is because she's honestly a tamer better for an early setup, or if you need the free playout bodies. But the EX6 has the most promise because of the fact that you can gain memory off any of your Digimon except Patamon if you were to just slam them on the board. Not to mention, she holds that end of turn DNA effect that makes you less reliant on starter deck gatomon. Largely, I think the Mirei Mikagura from the newest set is an absolute must. Because of its filtering, and what you can do, she also floats into a tamer, which means if you have angewomon or ladydevimon from BT11, that's another memory gain when you tag out. Again, this list isn't perfect, but just a start for you as a player to fine-tune and make adjustments. I hope you learned something from today's video, but most of all, as always, thank you so much for your support. This is DIGI-PANDA, logging out.